Assalamu alaikum. Let me share with you what the conversation with the Quran is like. The Quran says, Allahu nazzala ahsan al-hadith. Allah has sent down the most beautiful speech. He sent down the most beautiful conversation, the most beautiful talk. And then he described it by saying, Kitaban mutashabihan mathani, a book whose parts resemble each other. Mathani, meaning it contains many layers of folded meanings. تَقْشَعِرُّ مِنْهُ جُلُودُ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُم. The skins of those who have khashya of their Lord get goosebumps. I like to translate khashya as awe or wonder. I want to focus on this part of the verse for a second. So this hadith, which is this book, this beautiful conversation, those who have awe and wonder of their Lord get goosebumps from it. And now let's think about that metaphorically. What are goosebumps? Goosebumps are an involuntary reaction to cold or strong emotions that makes the muscles in the skin flex and makes the hair stand up. Or as we can explain it in Arabic, al-inqibadu fi jild al-shay'i wa zahirihi, meaning a contraction in the skin or the outer portion of something. The verse continues, ثُمَّ تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُمْ وَقُلُوبُهُمْ إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, meaning then their skins and their hearts soften towards the remembrance of Allah. So let's think about this. The first reaction to the conversation with the Quran is a contraction or a tightening or a flexing. Then the skins and the hearts soften towards the remembrance of Allah. So there's a contraction and then a softening. The Quran often challenges us to think. The Quran often reflects us back to us. The Quran becomes like a mirror. As someone said, you think you're reading the Quran, but the Quran is reading you. So that first reaction may be a defensiveness. It may be a contraction. But if we keep working on ourselves, then our skins and our hearts will soften towards the remembrance of Allah. The word that's translated as soften here is talinu. This is the same word that's used in the Quran for Allah softening iron for David. He says, وَأَلَنَّا لَهُ الْحَدِيدِ. We soften iron for him. So that further supports this point that the first reaction is a hardening. And then as we keep working on ourselves and contemplating the Quran, we soften towards the remembrance of Allah. Another point is that when he mentions the goosebumps, he talks about the skins. But when he mentions the softening, he says the skins and the hearts. So I think this shows that the journey to understanding the Quran starts on the outside and proceeds inward. So while we might start studying the Quran on a surface level, we don't want to remain there. We want to keep digging deeper and deeper until we get to the inner essence of the meanings of the Quran. And while our practice of the Quran might start on a surface level, we don't want to just stay there. We want to develop a rich inner spirituality. Another point in this verse is the use of the word ila, to or towards. ثُمَّ تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُمْ وَقُلُوبُهُمْ إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, meaning then their skins and their hearts soften towards the remembrance of Allah. He didn't say لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, for the remembrance of Allah. The use of the word ila or towards implies a journey. Like when he says, for example, سُبْحَانَ الَّذِي أَسْرَى بِعَبْدِهِ لَيْلًا مِنَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ الْأَقْصَى. When he says, glory be to the one who took his servant by night from al-Masjid al-Haram ila to al-Masjid al-Aqsa. Also the word that we're translating as then their skins and hearts soften is thumma. And thumma implies a process that takes place over some time. So to go from the level of their skins having goosebumps, so flexing and being defensive and being rigid, to the level of their skins and their hearts softening towards the remembrance of Allah, that phrase is preceded by thumma, which implies that this takes some time. So if you're still in that contraction phase with certain concepts, that's okay. It's a process of softening our skins, our outer layers, and our hearts, our inner layers, in the direction of traveling towards the remembrance of Allah. It's a journey, we're travelers. And then he concludes the verse by saying, ذَلِكَ هُدَى اللَّهِ يَهْدِي بِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. That is the guidance of Allah, by which He guides whomsoever He wills. وَمَنْ يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ هَادٍ. And whoever Allah misguides, then there is none to guide him. So our journey in the conversation with the Quran is a journey of defensiveness, then softening and acceptance of the remembrance of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.